Welcome back. You are here to create an awesome life. And I love that for you. Thank you so much for listening in or watching on YouTube. Today's topic is resistance. Resistance really is that pesky situation that usually pops up when you want to do something that means a lot to you, something that will usually take your life to the next level, but you're being blocked from doing it. And most of the time, it's such a mental or a mindset problem, a mindset situation. Now, resistance, you might have heard it being called ego. It's something that comes up in a way is a good thing because it's trying to keep you safe. It's your internal alarm system like, hey, maybe now is not the time. The trouble is, if you were to listen to that voice all the time, would we even get out of bed in the morning? Especially in some of those times in your life when things are a little bit more challenging. Resistance can pop up and just say, just stay here, just stay small, just stay quiet. So many people, I think people think it's so easy nowadays for so many people to put themselves out there because we see social media. There are so many smart and talented people, you could be one of them, that should be sharing on social media, that should be teaching, that should be out there. But the resistance, there's something holding you back from even putting yourself out there. Now, isn't it funny how once you do start to do it, like even me, getting over the resistance to create a podcast, it started off like thick, challenging, and then now I'm just like, turn on a mic. I got my ideas. Let's roll. It gets easier over time because you're training yourself to realize this is not a life or death situation. This could actually be fun. Now, I create online courses for authors, experts, people with an education inside them that they want to share. And when creating an online course, I notice a lot of resistance does pop up. Here's why. Basically, creating an online course feels very personal because your knowledge is the product. There is a lot of limitations or hesitations too around school and how do you teach right and how do you, is there a certain method, a certain way to do this to help teach people? So that resistance and that procrastination comes up, especially just in my line of work, but resistance might be popping up in your life in other ways, whether it is whether it's fitness or finances or just something is like not letting you make the first move. Okay. You can't take action. So today I have two options I want to share with you on how to overcome, sashay away from the resistance. Option one, let resistance win temporarily. What I mean by this is sometimes we're trying to start something when it's too late. Like you're trying to create something new. Here's the analogy. You jumped out of a plane without a parachute on and you're trying to stop. No, it's too far gone. You just got to land, deal with the aftermath, and start again once you're healed. If you are in a terribly challenging place, it's hard to do something new, say your heart's desire, when it's just so hard. So sometimes, or maybe it's just your average Tuesday at 4 p.m. and you got to start a brand new project, but you're like, oh, I don't want to. I see nothing wrong with letting that resistance win just for the moment. Just wave the white flag. You win for now, but not for long. I see in my line of work a heartbreaking number of talented people who could and should have online courses, be paid very well for their education, and it doesn't exist. And I blame the resistance for that. And I actually recently had this very talented person reach out to me and say that she's been thinking about creating her course for over 10 years and it doesn't exist yet. And I wish I could say that that is a anomaly. It's not. Even in my own life, some of the things I've wanted to create, there are certain things that have been buried that want to come up, but the resistance kept winning. But we're not going to allow that to happen this year. This is a new year, new us, okay? So we're no longer going to let our heart's desire be put on the back burner. So let us just know that today you find this podcast is a life intervention for the thing you really want to do. So here's how I suggest you actually make it through the resistance. The way to do this is give it an imperfect shot. Give it a shot and do it messy. It's not going to be perfect. Experiment, try it, chip away at it. A great example of giving it an imperfect shot is my sweet husband, Joshua. He had been trying to get back into fighting shape and wanted to lose like 50 pounds. And it was a very frustrating situation for him because he's like, I'm young, I'm like gaining weight, I'm not feeling my best. What's going on? And what he did, the way I've been watching from afar, I did nothing. I just been watching and, trying not to interfere, just encourage wherever possible. But here are a few things that he has done that I want to use as the example. Then I'll, of course, use myself, but just the imperfect shot and what it can do for you in such a short amount of time. So first of all, he did experiment. He experimented with different diets. He's on a more plant-based diet, and you'd be shocked to find out what actually worked, what started to gain traction, which is so funny because I wouldn't recommend this diet to like anyone, but he basically would eat like a vegetarian Subway sandwich, sometimes with like extra tofu in it for protein, a Magnum ice cream bar, and like a protein shake as like his meal, his like main meal he would eat for the day. And what he said that it was like it was consistently joyful. Like he enjoyed that meal. He crafted a meal he actually liked. And with his body makeup, he was able to fast for longer periods of time, where you might be listening and say, yo, I cannot fast for like that long. I could not. One time I tried to fast and like almost blacked out. So fasting is not really for me for like long periods of time. He also had clarity on the goal. He has a goal weight at first that he wanted to hit. And then of course it evolves over time and can get a little more complex, like how much body fat do you want? But just having clarity on a goal that you want. Finding teachers or mentors to help you. Now, one of the reasons I want to share Josh's story is because I'm somebody that will like pay a lot of money to learn from people. I love online courses, online learning experiences. He just found some really great people on YouTube to follow and like found these guys with like senses of humors, embodying their teaching methods, great tips, like very accessible learning, and use them as kind of jumping off points to learn and experiment. Also reverse engineering the goal. So if you're more of like a left brain person, this could be very helpful for you, where, for example, say you want to sell an online course and you want 5 people to be in your online course for the first cohort, your beta cohort or something. There's this kind of like marketing data point that an average conversion rate is 2%. So if you think that you have, in order to get 5 people in at 2%, you need to talk to like 250 people to really get that 2% of people to say yes. Now, many more might say yes, but just kind of having that reverse engineering of, okay, let's just be honest with myself. Or if you're trying to lose a certain amount of weight, like how many steps or how many calories can I burn per 10,000 step walk? Do a little math. That's like the left brain way. The right way, the right brain way is, what's the feeling that you want to have when you achieve the thing that you want? There's a saying that the only reason we have goals, the only reason we want anything is for the feeling we'll have in the achieving of it. So We might think, oh, I want to run a marathon. Like, why would you want to run a marathon? It's because the feeling that you think you will have at the end of that marathon, which could be elation. I want to feel elated. Or when you make $1 million, what's the feeling that you will have once you make that $1 million? Maybe it's joy, maybe it's empowerment, maybe it's passion. And the idea is that if you feel that by you making $1 million, you'll feel passionate, how do you have micro moments every day where you're starting to embody the feeling of passion? How can you have passion in every email that you send? How can you have passion in every podcast that you host? How can you have passion in every webinar that you host? So really embodying the feeling of the goal, because let's face it, once you make $1 million, you'll be like, great, how do I make 10? This is just human nature. We always want more and more and more. It's the nature of being a human. So this podcast to me is like an imperfect shot. What's so funny is this is my second time recording this episode because Zoom is imperfect and it was like auto recording, but then it just didn't. So we're trying again. And you know what? The last one probably sucked. So this one's great. And also I have created 3 podcasts in the past and they all were imperfect, but led me to great connections, led me to great clients, led me to just having fun. And to me, the feeling I want with creating a podcast is just fun. It's just freedom. It's just sharing, teaching without any strings attached or something. It's just an energy. It's fun. That's where I'm at now. Maybe one day it will turn into a business, but right now we're just having a time. So here's a great example. I recently purchased a premium online course from a $1 million course creator. So this course was like thousands of dollars. And I was blown away by the imperfect experience. So when I was checking out to buy the course and I went to, enter the credit card info to pay, usually after you pay, especially for a more premium price, there's like a screen that's like, you made it. Yeah. Like, congrats or something. I got a 404 error page, an error page, I'm like, okay, that was weird. And then we found out there was just like, she apologized. It happened. It's all good. And then later I realized I missed an invitation to one of the live coaching calls that she was hosting. Never saw it in the email, never saw it I just never saw it. I'm like, that's odd. Like, interesting that wouldn't be more well known, or maybe a calendar invite with all the different live training so none of the students miss it. So again, a little bit of an imperfect experience, but it really has fortified my belief that no matter what stage you're at, we're all just figuring it out. Truthfully, I'm not even mad that experience was imperfect, because it actually inspired me. Like, maybe if I'm at a spa or something, or some industry that I'm not in all the time, I might be like furious. I wouldn't be furious at a spa. You get what I'm saying. I just wasn't furious because I know what it takes to create a course. And it was inspiring to me because if I ever become a $1 million course creator and it's not perfect, I can remind myself of this moment. And I encourage you to do the same, that no matter what company it is, it's not perfect. And something that I've decided to do is to finally decide to host my own 6-week live training program for first-time course creators to create and sell their flagship online course so they can have the premium experience. We're doing it together. Now, I guarantee this will be imperfect, but I am excited to essentially get over myself and finally teach the course that I've been thinking about for years. It is time. We're not letting the resistance win. So I am very encouraging of you today. If there's something that you really want to do, the first step truly is also deciding, like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And it doesn't have to be a loud declaration. You don't have to post it on social media. You might want to write it down to yourself in a journal or somewhere on a calendar, but decide, I'm going to do it. This is your year to do the thing you really want to do, to experiment, to try it, to not let the resistance win, to at least give it a shot. So, my friends, to summarize, just those two options is just let it win or give it an imperfect shot. So, depending on where you're at today, I encourage you to choose one or the other and make some progress, take some inspired action when the time is right for you. I'm going to wrap up there. So thank you so much for listening. And I would love it if you enjoy this episode to rate, subscribe, or share it with a friend. And I encourage you to sign up for my newsletter, and because it's all about how do you live an awesome life. And especially if you have a desire to be paid to teach what you know, I would love to help you get there. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a beautiful day and take good care of you.